How are you? Just a quick video. Actually, I'm literally recording for my own records. Wow, I just had another revelation. It's crazy because literally every time something happens, within the next 30 minutes, I have an answer that comes. And I had this video that popped on my screen from Joseph Campbell, The Power of Myth, episode 2. It's an interview. I just posted it on my Facebook. That is crazy because I just had a big confirmation, huge confirmation. I'm going to be quick, less than 5 minutes, but you know, when I read the Tablets of Emerald, or when I read the Kabbalion by the Three Initiates and stuff, and all these books, they kind of, the deity puts, or the initiate, they put themselves into this teacher's position, right? And for years and centuries, they've been hiding those knowledge because they considered that, I talk about it in my previous video, okay, so I explain more, but I just wanted to add that only the people who are educated enough, who make enough efforts to understand and stuff like that, are able to understand. And this bothers me because I always feel like, like in Titanic, when she's like, oh, now they're gonna go for brandy, congratulate themselves for being the masters of the universe, and smoke cigars and stuff like that. And that always makes me feel I don't like this superiority that in those books they have over the people. In all my classes, when I teach the painting and stuff, I never position myself as the teacher. I'm always welcome the people, like, hey, we learn from each other. So you're here, you're learning my technique, but maybe I'm going to learn something from you. And, we're complementing, learning something from each other. And even now, it's changing nowadays. When you see all the new trainings and the mentors and stuff, they offer this knowledge massively. It's no longer the secretive rooms or temples where you just learn just for an elite and stuff like that, So every time I read those books, I'm always really triggered, and I'm like, oh man, that bothers me. That you depend even from this past life memory, of this girl that was you had to ask for permission, before you use the knowledge that you have and stuff like that. And nowadays they're changing that. Like, stop asking for permission. Esteban, please listen to what I'm saying if you want. Your own masters, even all the time of Jesus and God and stuff like that, they wanted to show that there is an authority above your head that you have to obey to. If not, you will not go to heaven, or you will be judged, or stuff like that. Okay, when in fact, what they were teaching is to be your own master and to be your own divinity. We connect with your superpowers and stuff like that. But then it makes me feel bad because I was like, man, maybe, every time I read the... Go, baby.
No, I'm still here.
Oh, okay. Every time I read those books, I'm like, man, all the great books, they say it, who am I to change all that? And I just had the answer. Because here, come a little side. Yeah, I was listening to Joseph Campbell, and Esteban, stop, please. He was talking about this legend. Okay, go see the video, you will explain better. But how the guy conquers, right, one of the demons and brings back the rain, right, to the village. And it's funny because there is a storm right now happening in Florida, and so it's just was a great alignment to actually see this legend about this right now.
And we live in Florida, and I don't even see the hurricane.
Yeah, it's not here yet, but I don't think it's gonna come all the way to Jacksonville. And the guy, after his victory, he builds a palace, and he starts saying, how good I am, what a good, whatever, I don't know what a good I don't know, I don't understand what he said. What a good person or God or whatever I am, right? And then he's talking to one of his associates or whatever, and there's a bunch of ants entering inside the palace, right? And he starts laughing, and so the guy, the Victorious, right, he tells him, why are you laughing? He's like, oh, you're not gonna like it if I tell you the truth. And he tells him, why? Tell me, teach me, I want to know the truth. And he's like, well, all these ants, they were masters who made it all the way to the victory and enlightenment and stuff like that. And by the time, the point when they came and said, oh, how good I am, I made it, then the cycle starts again as ants, and they restart again the cycle of the evolution. So this is when the guy is kind of switched, and he's like, so I think it's to teach us humility, you know? And so the guy changes his life path by not building this palace, but by doing something else, right? Teaching. I don't know exactly the story. What I remember from it is the moral, right? About the humility and why. Arrête, stop, Esteban, stop.
Nice.
You're distracting me. You're so loud. Go, babe. It got me to understand why it bothers me so much when I read those books and when I read like taught, you know, or the initiates and stuff saying keep it secret, you know, just for it just really makes me feel like us, you know, the great savants, while the rest of the people, even when I hear things like, you know, that just triggers me a lot, because I used to be all about the law of attraction, yeah, the positivity and stuff, and then stuff happened to you and stuff happened to you and stuff happened, and people treat you like crap, and then people, of course, the masses support, you know, the most successful, never, you know, the victim or look for the truth, is the one who has more likes, you know, has more likes. So that was a kind of an interesting experience of life that I've had. But and then you hear discourses like, you create your own barrier, you know, your only limitation is your imagination. Yeah, I wrote that, I even wrote it, you know. But sometimes you give it all you've got, and sometimes you have a kid that comes every minute to interrupt you, and sometimes, you know, your car keeps breaking down every week, and you spend your entire week at the garage and you just can't get things done, you know. And sometimes excuses. But for some people, it just never stops, the struggle, you know. And it really, really bothers me. Man, you see how everything I've done, of course you can't, because my Instagram page has been censored, so all my history is gone. But I've been to Miami, I've done the exhibition in Miami, I've done exhibition in France, and don't get me wrong, every time I go travel somewhere in Miami, I went to all the galleries of Miami. I literally made a list of all the galleries in Miami. I went to introduce myself to each one of them, giving them a brochure with my name, my website, being like, hey, I'd like to have my paintings here in your gallery, you know, applying for every partnership, every exhibition. Man, I've spent hundreds, thousands of dollars doing this, traveling to places, going to gallery, trying to do partnerships, to France, same thing. And yeah, it developed a little bit of my network, but to the point to say that, wow, my business exploded, I'm not there just yet, even though I believe it should, because there's so much knowledge and stuff. But it's just so much, you know. And so when I hear that, oh, you're your only limitation, and it triggers me. It makes me feel like, you know, oh, all of these people who struggle, they're not being understood, because life is hard. I'm sorry, you can't tell me that there's 7 billion of ignorant, stupid dummies who don't know anything about how life works. No, sometimes life is tough, and not everybody has the same conditions. And of course, when you look at it from the conscious level, from the higher consciousness, there is always a reason. There is always, I understand now why some things that happen in my life didn't work out that way, or why it had to wait for a certain timing. I get that. But as a present moment and human point of view, for everybody to live this without stress and full trust, it requires a lot of humility first, and compassion. Even if it happens to you, even if it happens for you, even if it's in divine timing and you don't know it yet, even if there is better waiting around the corner and you don't know it yet, you still have to have compassion and not tell people all the time that they create their own struggle. They create their own. It just makes people feel bad. And
what does compassion mean?
The what?
What does compassion mean?
Compassion is when you try to understand the other people, right? You feel for someone. For example, if you fall, then I'm gonna and you say, "Oh, mommy, it hurts me." Then I feel compassionate for you because I love you and I feel for you, and I want, and so yeah, and so when I read that this reincarnation in ants, I was like, yes, we're here to change this mentality, okay? Because once you get to this mentality that you're so sure, arrête! When you get to this mentality that you're so sure of yourself, that other people, they're not good enough because you figured it out and stuff, then this is when you reincarnate then into, you have to start over again. And so I feel like it's a message from all these masters who's tired of being reincarnated into ants, that's like, okay, we need to gather and we need to change the course of things and how people think. And I think that sometimes for a voice to come louder, it has to be triggered. Arrête, stop putting your hands at the paint is fresh, babe. I just painted that.
I didn't paint it.
Just stay there, babe.
I wasn't touching it.
Okay.
I was just playing with this.
Okay. What was I saying?
About the compassion. Oh, about the ants.
The ants, yes. Unfortunately, it's when someone is murdered on the other side of the world that people decide to go out in the street and say, "Oh, why do we wear this? Oh, we can wear whatever we want," But when you try to do an interview, when everything is going well, and you try to do an interview or organize something just to raise awareness about it, no one cares, So maybe that's why there is so much mentality. I see stuff like, oh, you got to be a shark, don't be in an ocean on fish, be the shark. Well, who are you to like, all these things like, the people, they're sheep, the people, they're, fish and stuff. This is just this superiority that bothers me, and maybe that's why I had to struggle so much, because I can understand what I couldn't if everything had kept being easy like it was before for me. Like every time I would do something, I had such a strong mindset and motivation. It would work out all the time, and all of a sudden nothing works at all. Nothing. All doors blocked, and some people helped out for that too. Thank you. But at least now I understand how it feels. And so by being triggers and seeing that, sometimes it makes me want to give up. I want to say, you know what, just you guys got it. Keep telling everybody, that you have to be a shark that puts boundary. Yeah, build walls. Yeah, build huge walls around you. Okay, so big boundaries, no communication, no friends. Of course, we're here to save the world, not to be friends or to make connections at all. But yeah, we're here to. So sometimes I see stuff like that. I'm like, guys, you got it. You guys are the boss of the world. You do it. And sometimes then I'm like, no, but the voice of the people, we can't let a mentality like that, compassion always. And this is why I always talk about my mentors, but I'm so impressed because every time they're able to transmute that, to transmute this feeling into compassion and understanding. And of course, you also have to be strong and motivate. But anyways, that was the little voice of the ants stuff. Interesting to put in perspective. I'm not saying that the books are bad. The tablets, of course, a leaf for the tablets of Emerald and the Kybalion and stuff like that. But it was written at a time that has to cross eras and stuff. And now we have to do the modern application. How is this understood by people? Maybe we need some translation as well. All right, guys, have a great evening. Stay safe, and I'll see you later.
From the tornado, if you live in Florida.
Say bye.
Bye.